So here, as in the single matrix model, the design emphasis on the dual and sometimes triple responsibilities here. In case of multi-business companies, the responsibilities are shared between the product divisions and the geographical units. Both of them altogether are responsible for their functional and operational responsibilities, the individual product divisions as well as the geographical units. Now, if we consider the structural part, the strategies and operational responsibilities are shared by production units with reference to a particular product division and the regional or geographical units. They are treated as a profit center and are wholly solely responsible for their profits or losses. Global product divisions, they lead the global products. So we can say here only the products which are accepted globally without requirement of molding, such products are welcomed here, or they are only produced in this global product divisions. Now here it depends upon the geographic units as far as the political scenario, the legalities is considered to adapt to that particular nation's norms, rules, regulations. Now, dual systems are free flow of information. They have the multi-dimensional databases. They have the dual. One is with reference to individual product division, and the other part is with reference to that particular region or nation. So in collaboration with both of these, the strategic plans are designed or framed. They have the shared information systems. Now here, when I say it's a product division with reference to a single geographical area or nation, it has to collaborate with the national intricacies, or it has to take into consideration the requirement of that particular nation and perform strategic plan or frame strategic plans in conformity with the national unit. Here the transfer of best practices is achieved because there is mapping in between both these units, that is the divisional unit as well as the geographical unit. Also, there is sharing and negotiating of the cultures in between both of these units. So at business level, the global dimension is represented by the executive in charge of the global product division, while at the local dimension is in the hands of the business units in the countries. Now here the synergies among businesses are achieved at a region or country level by the regional or country managers. These regional or country level managers are responsible to achieve the synergies among these businesses with reference to that particular country or nation. Here, this matrix is supposed to optimize the dual requirements of global efficiencies and the regional or national responsiveness. So there should be mapping in between both of this, the global efficiency and the local responsiveness. Now, this we have seen in the grid. Matrix organizations, they are complex and may lead to power struggles that cancel out their expectations. Now here there are certain things which can prove to be a limitation as far as this model is considered, like role ambiguity. Now for the middle level managers, the situation is like this: they have dual bosses, so it puts pressure on them to achieve the objectives. Now at a divisional unit level, the objectives are different. At national unit level, the objectives might be different, and global unit, the objectives are different. So it puts pressure on this middle level managers when the goals are a bit conflicting. So overcoming this becomes challenging for the middle level managers. Similarly, there is dilution of responsibility. Numerous conflict resolution mechanisms, they have to be put in place, particularly like committees, the meetings taking place, the task force which is working on the operational part of the organization. Now here, since power rests with the divisional office for the product, for the regional office, and for the global office, it takes long time. The decision making takes a long time. There is often delay in this, and it is difficult to say who is responsible for what. So here, when the things are very goody goody, okay, when the profit is more, everybody shares the responsibility and takes the onus. But when it comes to other part, that if there are certain problems, if there are losses, then it becomes difficult to say who is responsible for what. Nobody is ready to take. Everybody just puts on this responsibility upon the other managers. So that is dilution of responsibilities. Cost inefficiencies. Coordination costs of metric structures such as travel, communication, and the time spent in meeting and delays makes again the decision making process a bit tedious, complex, as well as there are delays in this. So the cost involved is from the time constraint as well as from the monetary part. Now when it comes to conflicts, the metric structures encourages product divisions and country managers to assert their power, leading to numerous territorial conflicts. So when a company is thinking about this multi-business metric models, it has to take into consideration the limitations of this model. The next is hybrid structural models. Most of the company is looking into the pros and cons of each and every structural model, prefers to adapt a structural hybrid structural model where it includes the single line of reporting. So there are no problems as far as two bosses are considered or conflicts as far as the power, exercising the power as well as responsibility is considered. Global product divisions act as suppliers of innovation. So here the specific role is assigned. If you take the products divisions, they act as suppliers of innovation, products, and components to geographical units in charge of marketing, local production, and product adaptation. So here a clear-cut thin line is drawn as to who is responsible for what and which manager is going to report to which subdivisional manager. So we say there is single line of reporting and no complexities are involved in the proper structural part. Now here there are two types of hybrid models which are considered in this. The traditional international division model and the complex dual structure model. Now, these uh, international division models are based upon the traditional or old ways of structural types. this was the first organizational structure adopted among the organizations by the organizations at the early stage of internationalization. The overseas subsidiaries, they possess high degree of autonomy, but they depend on home country divisions for products and technical support. So here the subsidiaries have been given total freedom or leverage as far as the decision making part is considered, but they are dependent on the headquarter division for products and technical expertise for technical help. Now, in this case, international sales represent a very small proportion or a minor proportion of total sales, and transactions between home divisions and country subsidiaries are limited. This model fulfills the requirement of global efficiency and local responsiveness. So here the basic fundamental or the stress is on local responsiveness. That's why we say that the sales, international sales represent a very small part. So this is only possible when the organization is in the initial stage of internationalization or it enters into the global markets. Now, slowly and steadily, when the internationalization in the international markets, the sale increases and starts representing a significant proportion of total turnovers. That is, sales slowly starts moving ahead. The company begins to feel the need to integrate all activities in the global structure, maybe either geographically on the divisional basis or matrix. Now coming on to the next part, that is a complex dual structure. Now here the basic framework of dual models is to create a mix of different designs within the global organization. So it imbibes one or two designed mixed together and then frames the structure. Like for example, Citibank built an organization in which a global product division design, that is which takes into consideration the customer banking and the corporate banking all together. Geographical design, which includes the country subsidiaries. That is, they have the regional or the offices at the subsidiary level of the nations, and a single matrix design for global account management, which coexist. So here, this company has taken into consideration a mix of this structural frameworks. Similarly, 3M in Europe, which has adopted a global product division design in for the European business centers, which would be Pan-European Product Line Organization reporting to US main product division in charge of R&D, manufacturing and technical services to customers. So in this way, it depends upon the company which type of structure it's going to frame. The better the structures are framed, the better is the integration and coordination between the units. Now the geographical dimension is represented by regional subsidiaries who are in charge of operational results within the country. So these regional or national subsidiaries are responsible for the operational results in that particular area or region. Now the Acer Group has divided its global operations into two categories. That is strategic business units which develop products and manufacturing components in the world-class factories, and regional business units which are locally based and in charge of assembling marketing and sales. So here, when a company thinks of SBOs, then they, at the regional level, they take care of assembling, marketing and sales. Well, there may be a other subunit which takes care of developing the products and manufacturing components in the world-class factories across the globe. Dual complex designs offer flexibility to take care of contents and businesses. Now here, the limitation is that these designs are complex, which requires a manager's culture similar to that of advocated by transnational model. So then only this is possible, or then only it will fit here. Now the next is the transnational model. Now this type of organizational design model does not focus on organizational structure. Here, instead of focusing on organization structure, this model focuses on management processes and the cultural part. It does not prescribe any organizational structure as such, but recognizes that global organization is made up of the roles assigned to specific managers who are responsible for the in totality processing and maintaining the cultural part, that is taking care of avoidance of cultural conflicts. So on the basis of this, there are four types of differentiated managerial roles which are included in this model. First and foremost is the global business managers. Global business managers, they act as strategists, architects. Now these global managers, they frame the strategies or mold the processes of asset distribution and competencies, leveraging and coordinating of global activities. So these global managers are responsible for framing strategies by taking into consideration the assets distribution and competencies of the particular strategic business units, and then assign the role to those units. The next is country managers. Country managers, they act as sensors of local opportunities and threats. They are builders of national resources and contributors to global competitive development. So here, the country managers or the national managers, they tap, or they are responsible for seizing the local opportunities and also taking care of the threats at their country level or the national levels. They are also builders of national resources. Now here, every SBU, the regional SBU, is been allocated with certain resources. How these strategic business units make use of these resources and contribute to the global business becomes the part of assessment for the country managers. The next is the functional managers. Functional managers act as specialists, looking after new developments and making sure that best practices are shared and transferred across the organization. Now we say when it is a role of functional managers, they are responsible only for their core area. That's why we say they are specialists. Now, if the functional manager is responsible for innovation and new product development and R&D, then that manager is answerable to his unit as a specialist for this new product developments. Similarly, if we take the operations manager, he takes into consideration the process part of the organization. How smoothly the operations are performed and the best practices are shared among the employees and adapted is the lookout of this functional managers. The next part is corporate managers. Now, the corporate managers act as overall organization leaders and developers of talent. Now, corporate managers are responsible for the functioning of corporate office as well as they have the responsibilities to head the entire organization globally. These functional managers are responsible for the country managers, who in turn are responsible for the corporate functioning of the businesses. These corporate managers, they have the responsibility as an organizational leader to take care of employees, their say, and look into the matters of regional discrepancies. Now, these four roles can be distributed within a global product, a geographical, or a matrix structure. Here, the important thing is that managers develop a matrix in the mind instead of structures. Just frame instead of framing the structures, the focus is on the managers who are responsible for the overall management process and imbibing the culture of the organization. There are 7 key features of transnational design. Now let's have a look one by one at this. Now the business units are a part of a network that follows the principle of reciprocal dependencies. When the output of one department becomes an input of the another, with the addition of being cyclical, that is on a continuous basis, cyclical basis, continuous basis. And organizational departments are at their highest intensity of interaction. They are complex and difficult to manage as the output of one unit will affect the performance of the other units. That is what is the follow principle of reciprocal dependencies. Now here in this structure, all roles become important. In this transnational model, since more emphasis is given on the managers and their roles, what roles they play, how smoothly the operational functions move ahead, and as far as the culture is considered, how the cultural conflicts are avoided. That's why we say all roles are very important. Well defined control systems. A clearly defined and tightly controlled set of operating systems, and in particular of a transparent and multidimensional information system, is the key here. So here it is expected that these managers at their individual level have to look into the operating systems. They have to be clearly defined and tightly controlled so that there are no diversions from the predetermined plans. These systems should be transparent and well defined in advance. Good interpersonal relations. Now here, since The managers are involved, the people are involved, and one is dependent on the other. The output of one unit is dependent upon the other. There should be good interpersonal relations among these units or the managers, ultimately the people. Inter-unit decision forums. Now here there should be active participation of global and functional managers in subsidiaries boards. Now there are subdivisions, there are global divisions, and when the decision making parts comes, there are forums, and actively these managers they participate to discuss maybe upon the new technology, to assess the new opportunities, the threats, etc. Strong corporate values have to be imbibed among these employees. The corporate values have to be respected. The employees should be molded in such a way that these corporate values are reflected at the regional level also. A culture of sharing and willingness to collaborate. And basic thing is these managers should work on a positive note of sharing and willing to care about each other, come together, collaborate for the well-being of the organization. Now, this was about the 7 key features of the design. So this chapter basically deals only with the structural part. Now, one more part was left out from the strategic alliance part. Whether the PPT is visible? Hello?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So here, the strategic alliance or the partner analysis. This was one of the part which was left out. Now this is with reference to strategic alliance, when both of the companies they come together to form a strategic alliance. How one company analyzes the other company before entering into the alliance. Now the relationship with proposed partner is viable and valuable. Now, how do you consider the assessment of this partner? Now there are basically 4 types of assessments. The first one is the strategic fit, the capabilities fit, organizational fit, and the cultural fit. Now here in the strategic fit, it assesses the degree of compatibility among both the partners, whether both the partners are compatible. Now it calls for the assessment as far as the criticality of alliance for the partnership is considered, the relative competitive position of the partners, and the compatibility in strategic agendas. Now, criticality deals with the how important is the alliance for partners. So here, whether this alliance is important for only one partner or both of them are need in the alliance. Now, if one partner is much more stronger and another one is not that much stronger, then in this case, it becomes unbalanced deal. There is no balance. The stronger company will always dominate the weak company. That is the possibility. Do they need and to achieve their objectives? How do they want to achieve their objectives? What are the objectives of the alliance, of the partner? If both the partners they expect high commitment, then it is okay. Both of the companies should be committed. Then only we say it is a favorable good fit for them. The relative position of partners is an important parameter to investigate. Now, the relative positioning, maybe in terms of brand image, reflections of shares in the stock market, the position of being a market leader or a follower, or they are the laggards. Where does the company rank in terms of competition? So, the strategic assessment is the confrontation of strategic agendas and their expectations. So, here, from the strategic point of view, the companies think about this fit. Now, when we speak of strategic agendas and their expectations, there are four agendas like venturing agendas, extractive agendas, sharing agendas, and option agendas. Venturing agendas here, the partners have desire to engage in collaboration to create business. So venturing, both of them, they show the positive approach. Their motivation is reflected to grow and flourish the business and get the rewards. That is the earning the profits or the expansion of market, gaining the market share. It is reflected. Extractive agendas, here the objective is to learn or acquire capabilities from the partner. Both of the companies, they understand their co-partner is having certain set of strong points or something is there to learn from there. Maybe the technical part, maybe the operation parts. So that is, they are going to extract. So it is extractive agendas. Sharing agendas are limited ones. Their prime objective being to maximize efficiency in certain elements of value chain through gaining the economies of scale and the scope. So here the basic in case of sharing, it is expansion of the markets with the help of strategic alliance with the partner who is much more efficient in terms of value chain. So that is both of the companies, they share something in between. The next is option agendas. They are based on the desire for the partner to look and see with committing vast amounts of resources and using the alliance as an experimental platform for monitoring the business. So here it is looked upon as one of the options by including the resources on an experimental basis. That is the option agendas. Now the capabilities fit. Now here in case of this capability fit analysis, the basic or the prime objective is to assess the extent to which partners are capable of contributing to the necessary competitive capabilities of the business. So here in this cutthroat competition, how the partner will contribute to its competitive advantage is assessed upon. The framework for analysis of capabilities fit is straightforward. It is much more straightforward. It consists first in determining required resources assets and competencies needed in the value chain of the business. So first and foremost thing, as the approach is with reference to capabilities fit. How much capable is the partner company in terms of resources? Basically, financial resources, it means, or the assets part, and competencies needed, maybe in value chain or it is in reflection of technical know-how. Now, for each partner, the specific contribution in each element of value chain is drawn based on exposed or supposed resource assets and competencies here. Here, the last phase determines the potential gap to be filled by joint investment and evaluation of whether mutual contribution plus the additional investments make future alliance effective. So the analysis is made in terms of this. As far as the cultural fit is considered, there are three types of cultural differentiations which can be taken into consideration. The first is the corporate, second one is the industrial, and third one is the on the national basis. Each of this is likely to create a gap that may affect the future functioning of this partnership. Hence, it has to be assessed. Now, the role of this cultural fit is to understand the nature of differentiation and to anticipate the effects. That is how this alliance will get affected due to cultural part. If we consider the corporate culture, it arises from history of the company. That is the founder, right? Starting from the founder. Who is the founder? What are the values imbibed? Its ownership structure, whether it's of bureaucratic style or whether it's a patronistic style or the free flow of managerial style, as well as it is also affected by the personality of leaders also, this corporate culture. The industry cultures are the norms that are derived from type of businesses in which the firms are engaged. So it's at the industrial level. For example, if you take the FMCG companies, they share a marketing mindset. Since the basic goal of this FMCG companies is create or produce the products and distribute to the masses. Now, that would not fit to the fertilizer company, where the segment is totally different. So one cannot think of mapping the cultural of one business to the other business. When it comes to national or ethnic culture, now here this national or ethnic culture differs as far as the education system is considered, the religion is considered, the societal norms, beliefs, and social code of conduct is considered. They are all interwoven in the national terms. So this is about the cultural fit. The last is the organizational fit. The organizational fit is strongly correlated with cultural fit. The objective is to assess whether partners in this organizational structure, system, and procedures, they differ significantly to the extent that the organization works between partners within the alliance. Now here, when we take into consideration the organizational structure and procedures in between two organizations, if both of them they have a different style, then the alliance may get affected. For example, if one company is more prone to the centralization as far as the decision making is consideration, one company is totally based upon the centralization and the other one is based upon decentralization, then there is a problem. So here this fit includes the degree of decentralized decision making. Similarly, the other points include the degree of documentation of policies and rules. In some company, they may have a very informal structure where every now and then the documentation is not given much importance, but mutual trust on the basis of informal culture on the basis of trust and faith gained from the employees to the organization, the things move ahead. While against this, there may be the partner firm which more relies on documentation of the policies and the rules to be followed. Similarly, the same thing is applicable as far as the accounting and reporting methods of the systems are considered. Also, the degree of formalization of decision making. In one organization, it may be much more open and informal, while in others, it may be more closed or restricted and totally formal. The kind of incentives used to motivate the personnel also affects the organizational fit. Now, here one company may give importance to non-monetary motivation, while the other company just relies totally on the motivation based upon monetary part. So here, when these two partners come together, there may arise a conflict because of their ideologies, because of their cultural differences, and hence, when they once they form the alliance, all these things get affected. So prior to that, the assessment of the partners plays a very important role in strategic alliance part in business in today's competitive business world. So this was one of the part which was remaining from the strategic alliance. That's why I thought I should discuss this. Okay, any doubts? Hello. So today we will stop here.